Bust it.
Hello and thanks for joining us. It's time again for Political Platform. So many issues developing, stories breaking, some others developing in the polity. It was the president's entourage that visited Benue State yesterday in continuation of his visits to trouble spots. Many were expecting the president to get to Benue, the epicenter of the crisis, but the president believes there are other states such as Taraba where even more number of killings are taking place. My name is Amechi, and we shall be taking a look at the outcome of the president's visits, the circumstances surrounding it. We have other issues we'll be sharing with you. Very important development in the political turf. The National Assembly, the Senate to be precise, yesterday conducted a public hearing on a bill seeking to establish a separate commission to handle political offenses in the mode of the EFCC, a proposal that came from the Mohammed Waste-led committee some years ago, but is about to be actualized this time around. Very good news for those that want Nigeria's democracy to grow, and bad news for those that perpetrate electoral fraud. We have as our guest today, Femi Adesina, the special advisor to the president on media and publicity. He's right in the studio with us. Thank you so much and welcome to Political Platform.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
He's wearing a TIF cap in solidarity with the people of TIF.
Oh, yeah. No, not just the TIF, all Benue people.
All Benue people. Of course, the Domas are also inclusive.
Yes.
My colleagues are also in the studio with me, Adebayo Bodore.
Thank you very much.
And Ujueje.
Thank you, Amechi.
Okay, we'll have to alter the format of the program for today. Femi Adesina has some urgent activities to engage with in the presidential villa, so we'll go straight away to our interview section with him. The mails and other segments will be coming much later. Our colleague Ijama Samuel is also joining us right away. Ijama, you can see we have a guest in the studio. I was just telling our listeners to forgive us for altering our format for today. Welcome to Political Platform.
Thank you very much, Amechi.
Okay, the visit of the president here, some will say is long overdue. There have been so many other visits, including former presidents, some governors. Many would have thought the president would be the first to visit and the others coming thereafter, but it appears it's the other way around.
Yes, that has been explained. In the press statement we issued last week announcing the visits, we said the president, having received reports on the various clashes and having studied them, it was time for him to visit. So those reports first, so that he can have a balanced and proper perspective of what actually happened, and then he could visit. The visit was not supposed to be an emotive thing. It was supposed to be a sympathy visit, a condolence visit based on proper information. So the president, having received what he believes is proper information, then proceeded on the different visits.
But somebody on one of the platform today said the visit. He described the visit of the president like somebody who traveled all the way to Benue to condole a family. Instead of condoling the family, he stopped over at the headquarters of the local government and condoled the local government chairman without seeing the properly bereaved family. How do you react to that?
The local government chairman is supposed to be an elected person. So he is bearing the mandate of the people. And if he is visited on such visit, he transmits and transfers the message to the people who elected him. That's just in terms of analogy. But the visit, the welcoming team was made up of stakeholders from across the divide. TV, Idoma, Fulani, everybody was there. And When they were to make comments and speak, each person was given opportunity to speak. So all the stakeholders were there.
So some of the stakeholders told the president point blank that the people of Benue State are not happy with him. They believe in their own estimation.
Not with him. No, don't misquote them. Because I was there. They didn't say they were not happy with the president. In fact, most of them were full of commendation for the president. They didn't say they were not happy with him. That would be a misrepresentation of what happened yesterday. Not a single of them said he was not happy with the president. But rather they spoke about the confidence they have in him.
George Akume, I specifically
I listened to
said the people of Benue are not happy.
No, yes, but not we. How can they be happy when you find blood flowing like that? They won't be happy, naturally. But nobody said we are not happy with the president. Rather, they said we voted for you massively in 2015 and we are still with you. They said that.
Okay, going forward, there were some fallouts from that visit yesterday. So some of them includes the fact that the place and action of and the role of the IG came to play. The president admitting that he wasn't aware that a directive he issued to the Inspector General of Police to relocate to Benue was not followed today later. This throws up a lot of questions. So many of our listeners writing in to our mailbox, we'll share some of them later, reaching the conclusion that the president is simply not in control of his governance. He issues directive and he doesn't follow up to actually know to what extent these directives are followed.
Those who say that have a right to their opinion. This is a democracy. You don't stifle opinion. Comments are free. Facts are sacred. Their comments, they have a right to it, but those comments are not facts. We know the facts and we stand by the facts. The fact is that the president is not just the president, he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and he runs his government hands-on and efficiently.
See, one will expect that if the president gives an order and somebody flouts the order, the president will act immediately. Because if what the president said yesterday, if we have to go by that, that means the IG didn't respect the person of the president, not to keep to the order. So what's the next step?
Act immediately and not hearing from the other side, that would not be proper. A father does not act like that. Even in the home, if there is an allegation from somebody in the home, you listen to the other side before you do whatever you will do. The IG, as yesterday I knew, was out of the country. That allegation came from Benue people. Knowing the president, fair-minded man, he's going to listen to the IG, he's going to ask him to defend himself, and then he does the next thing.
Still on the visit, the places he's gone so far, is it really okay that the president has not identified one-on-one with victims of these killings? Because if you look at what happened in the U.S., Donald Trump was right there in Florida helping to evacuate the people. You know, the victims could feel his presence, the presence of a father one-on-one. But that has not been the case with these visits.
America is a different country, it's a different setting, it's a different milieu. You do your own thing according to your country. You don't have to be a copycat. When the president visits a place like that, the hosts, along with the president's protocol people, draw up a program and they agree on places where the president will go. So it's not as if the president just says, this is where I will go. It's a concerted thing. They draw the program together.
Let me take you back to the Makurdi visit yesterday. It was the people that brought it to the attention of the president that the IG flouted his order. Now, what does it tell about a president who is a commander-in-chief who should, by ordinarily, have other ways of finding out how his appointees are carrying out his orders? The fact that it came from the people, does this suggest that the president does not have other channels of monitoring directive issued to the police IG and other service chiefs?
It simply tells you that the president is not omniscient. No human being is omniscient. It's only God that is omniscient, who knows all things. The president said last week that he has his channels of getting information. Apart from security reports he receives as president and commander-in-chief, he has other channels. But it doesn't mean that he gets every information under the sun.
When it concerns security, he needs to be everywhere and every time, because that is the primary purpose of governance.
It's not correct. Even in the best countries in the world, the superpowers, there still will be security breaches and failures. It's not correct.
There's also a worrisome trend in that the places that the president has visited, after he leaves, there have been killings in some of these places. The killings have continued. Does it not send a worrisome message that even the presence of the president in those places could not really deter the perpetrators?
The message it sends is that security is a collective responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the president alone. What Nigerians expect is that everything will flow from the top, which is not correct. It rather should even flow from the bottom up. Security is the responsibility of people from the ward to the local government, traditional rulers, state governor, up to the federal. What Nigerians expect is that the president will be like a knight in shining armor who comes to settle all security issues, even in wards and villages and hamlets. No, it doesn't work that way.
But being a father, having a father figure, the president of the whole country, every part of this country is still under his constituency. Is he not the one that should cooperate with the other spheres you have listed to ensure that we have a well-secured nation?
Yes, and that was what the tall thief said yesterday, that he believes that traditional rulers now should be given constitutional roles so that they can be part of the security apparatus. He called for a reordering of the security architecture in the country, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
And the president will likely think along that line.
Oh, sure. Whatever is going to be done to solve these security problems we now have and solve them in an enduring manner, the president will do.
Now, let's just take you up on the outcome of the visit of the U.S. Secretary of State. Just one more question. I know you're tight with time before you go. The president told him that as regards the Dapchi schoolgirls that were abducted, the government will prefer negotiations rather than military options. So many people are wondering, for how long are we going to be negotiating with terrorists who will collect money and take prisoners back, some of them joining them to also fight the Nigerian state?
Well, except you come with another viable option. What are we left with? The Secretary of State was asked a question during the interaction with the media. What will America do to help Nigeria rescue the Dapchi schoolgirls and the remainder of the Chibok? And he told that reporter pointedly that that is the responsibility of Nigeria. So, let's bring another option to rescue those girls other than dialogue. And if the option is viable, I'm sure the government will consider it.
Okay, we'll just have to allow you go now. Femi Adesina is the special advisor to the president on media. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you. My pleasure.
We'll go back to our format now. We'll take your mails, some of the mails you have sent to our email platform, politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Thank you for joining us on the mail segment. I am Ifeinwa Nwobi.
And I'm Amaka Okoro. Welcome.
We'll begin with reactions on President Buhari's visit to Benue State, and this is coming from Dada Oluwadari, who writes from Lagos. He says, "Good morning, Political Platform. I heard the statement of President Buhari over the IGP's non-compliance to his direct orders over 2 months ago, more than 3 times, and I am still very surprised that he could spill that out. So what is the kitchen cabinet doing, and who has been giving the president the so-called security reports over the killings, which has occurred again twice after the directive? Yet no one has been fired or queried. This is obviously incompetence of the highest order. Please, Nigerians, go and get your PVC."
And more reactions. Hakim Kazim from Lagos State says, "It's disheartening and disturbing that the president could claim ignorance of the flouting of his order by the IGP. With all the retinue of resources and intelligence at his disposal in the presidency, and now that he's in the know, what action has he taken to sanction the IGP for his gross insubordination and disobedience? For how long are we going to give excuses while the country is aflame? This president is in deep slumber and needs to wake up.
Staying with that, Uneku Eguda from Owerri in Imo State says, yesterday, I watched with great amazement President Buhari in Benue on national television say he was just finding out and was shocked that his instructions, which was issued 3 months earlier, was disregarded by the Inspector General of Police. By the president's statement, it implies that he gave the IGP a very serious and urgent task, which bothered on the lives and security of Nigerians and never bothered to follow up on it to make sure it was carried out. Is this the kind of seriousness the president attaches to the lives and security of the citizens? If the president really gave this instruction to the IGP and he treated it with such contempt and it went unnoticed by him, then it comes as no surprise why the president's appointees act with impunity, disregard for the law, and treat Nigerians with even more contempt. I won't be any more surprised if the IGP gets away with less than the proverbial slap on the wrist or even a presidential handshake. God save Nigeria. God save Nigerian. And that's it on the Bill segment. Do keep it coming to politicalplatform@yahoo.com. It's over to you now, Amechi.
Thank you, Ifeanyi and Amaka. We just rounded off our discussions with Femi Adesina, the presidential spokesperson. But let's bring in someone who's on ground in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, to share their perspectives on the president's visit. And we have on the telephone line with us Professor Gabriel Moti, a public administration expert. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Metche. Good morning.
Morning. How did the people receive the president's visit yesterday?
Yeah, the people received the president with mixed feeling. Yeah, because majority of the people felt he would have been fatherly enough and more empathic if he had come earlier than now. And so it was a mixed feeling. Others felt, well, whatever it is better late than never. But with the way the people received him by not coming out, by remaining in their own houses, also showed a little bit of their anger and their frustration with what happened. Usually when the president visits like this, you see people coming out on the street to jubilate, to show excitement, show commitment, and show their loyalty. That was not the case in Benue and Makurdi yesterday.
The president, so part of the message he gave out yesterday was that the Benue people should find a way of cohabiting peacefully with some other non-indigenous, such as the herdsmen. Of course, this is a repetition of the message he gave earlier when leaders of the Benue people came to the Asura Presidential Villa Abuja to meet with him. How is that message sinking in?
You see, Benue people have no problem receiving and accommodating visitors. We are a very hospitable set of people, and we have done it. And there are many, many, many non-Benue indigenous residing and doing businesses in Benue, going to school, and all sorts of things. The issue is that you cannot accommodate somebody who comes to your land and makes life difficult for you. Killing, maiming, destroying your farms, sending people into IDP homes, getting children out of school. We are gradually trying to produce a generation of children who will be illiterate because there is no school going on in at least 3 local governments, Guma, part of Makurdi and Logo local government. These are not the type of people you want Benue people to just accommodate. So it is not a matter of we not thinking that we're not being accommodative. It is an issue of people forcing themselves and doing the wrong thing, which Benue people are saying, Mr. President, call these people to order.
Part of what you mentioned earlier was the fact that people stayed away. They didn't come out in their thousands to welcome the president. Maybe that was why the president appealed to leaders of Benue people to tell the people that they are, including himself, doing his best to resolve this problem? Are the people not convinced that the president has what it takes to really get to the root of this problem?
We think the president has what it takes, and that is why the Benue people have always called upon him and are relying on him to do the needful so that things are in order. He is a president, he is a commander-in-chief, he is the father of this nation. He has all the security operatives under him, and no wonder, because even the demonstration of the military presence yesterday shows that all is not well in Benue. Because you can't have a president coming and the whole of Makudi was condoned off by the security forces. So it shows that the security know that the security situation in Benue is not good enough. And it is left for the president to do something about this so that there is peace, people can move around harmoniously, freely, without fear, and so on and so forth. So it's a very tall message for the elders and the leaders of Benue he spoke to yesterday, to go to the nook and crannies of Benue in the circumstance that we find ourselves here, to be able to convince people that things are otherwise. They may not find it easy. What they will find easy is when they see the president are tackling these problems we are having, getting people out of the IDP camps back to their homes, getting their homes cleared of the herdsmen so that they can settle back in their communities, do their farming, and go freely. When that happens, the leaders and the elders have no message again to carry even to their people. The message will be carried.
Prof, you are an expert in public administration. When a president gives directive to somebody who has to take order from him, like the case where he mentioned the Inspector General of Police that ignored his directive, and he will look into it. What does that say?
You see, the person who pointed out that issue that the IGP did not obey the president's command and stayed in Benue beyond 24 hours was a former military administrator and a retired army general at Tonkwera. He was the one that raised that issue. And so he couldn't have been trivializing what he said. And I think the president's response was a shocker to some of us. For the president to say that his IGP came and flouted his own orders and he is not aware until after 3 months that somebody is reminding him when he visited Benue, something is wrong with the command in the security. And I think that what he needs to do is not just to say he's going to find out. Yes, that maybe that is what he wants to do. But when he finds out and it is correct, we want to find out the disciplinary action he's going to take. Because when you give an order and it is flouted, especially a security order, you are putting the president in disgrace. You are putting the people who are to be secured under tension. And that is why there are killings. Even the people he sent, the police, some of them were killed also. So the IGP is liable to some of these things that are happening in Benue State.
Prof, would you have preferred the kind of security presence you saw yesterday to be in Benue, probably for to reduce the tension in the state?
If everything were normal, you don't need the type of security we saw yesterday when the president visited. Although I know that for a president to move, it takes a lot of things for the president to move, including security. But the visibility shows you that something is wrong. It is not a positive visibility of security we saw yesterday with the visit of the president. That is what I'm saying. And I don't think I can say more than that. But the presence was not a positive presence.
Let me take you back to the issue of the directive issued to the IG. Now, you have a commander-in-chief who, by our laws, issues straight directives to the heads of security agencies, including the IG. Now, as an expert in public administration, when such directives are given, what should the president or the governor of a state, in whatever instance that applies, do for feedback? Should he or she rely solely on security reports from the heads of security agencies as a way of evaluating their performances, or are there other means he should employ to gauge to what extent his directives have been complied with?
The president has the right to call back the IGP to assess what has happened. I think up till now we are not aware if that has been done. But also the National Assembly called for a report, which was submitted. And they rejected that report because the report did not have the input of the Benue State Governor Samuel Otom, and that should have sent a signal to the president, even at that moment, that something was wrong with the coming of the IGP, the type of report he submitted, which was one-sided, and again, even blaming the governor, even calling the governor through his spokesman a drowning man, and therefore Benue is a drowning state. That is the implication. If our governor is a drowning man, then Benue State is a drowning state. That was the implication for some of us. And I think all this is it's a little bit worrying that the president is only getting to know about it when he visited the belatedly Benue State. I think he should do something better in trying to track the orders he gives. And this is not the first time. He gave order about Minor. It was not carried out. He gave orders about the SSG that was eventually removed. It wasn't carried out until some time. The order, so many orders he has been given. And so there's something wrong with this administration. He should sit back and look at this. Why are people disobeying his orders? Are they deliberately trying to make him fair, or are they being disloyal, or what? He should look at it.
The issue of the sacked secretary to the government of the Federation, Babachi Lawa, if you recall, when he was told that he has been suspended, at the time he was suspended by journalists in the State House, his response was, which presidency? When he was told that it was the presidency that suspended him, he asked them, which presidency? Many people have taken it to mean that he himself even understands that the power in the presidency is diffused, that people, appointees of the presidency, will influence outside the commander-in-chief himself.
Yeah, but this order that was given to the IGP came direct from the president, and we heard it from the president through his own announcement. I don't think it was a diffused, delegated directive. It was a straight directive from the president. And I think the president did not say he gave that order yesterday through somebody else. He was surprised that his order was not totally obeyed by the IGP. And I think it behooves on him to do something with his IGP, because a lot of people, including Benue and even excluding Benue, think that the IGP may be one of the security problems we're having in the country. The way he's guiding the policemen in handling these Fulani farmers' health clashes, killings in the country.
Okay, we'll just have to thank you so much, Professor Gabriel Moti, a political administration expert, someone who's on ground in Benue State and monitoring the situation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So many issues are arising. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go into other developments, including the moves to establish a separate commission to handle political offenses. The much we can take on today's edition of the program. We'll continue tomorrow. That will be Wednesday. More reactions, send in your mails to anything you, of course, have strong opinion about, and other events happening out there in the country. On behalf of my colleagues, my name is Amit Chanok. Enjoy your day.
Bust it.